everybody out there. Welcome to Men in Stripes, brought to you by StripeHype.com, a fan-sided exclusive site here. Excited to be back after a nice show last week. We got to keep it going. A lot of news to talk about, a lot of things to discuss here. Tim Daniels excited to be back for an excellent show with none other than the co-editor of StripeHype.com himself, Mr. Matthew Wilson.
How are you, Tim?
I'm good, man.
Another week of all season in the books. Just means we're that much closer to the NFL season getting rolling.
Yeah, man.
So, jump right into this. I know we just talked about this a little bit in the pre-show. So, since it's fresh in our minds, this week kind of the big thing out of the NHL, and it happened last year in Major League Baseball, but the banning of other teams' gear in certain areas of essentially the stadium or the arena. It's kind of ridiculous.
Unless it's, Steelers stuff or anything like that.
Well, this time it was kind of how we're getting on this is the last year, of course, in Arizona, there were two fans who were sitting behind home plate. It was on a nationally televised game for ESPN, and essentially the Diamondbacks came up to these two people and said, "We can't allow you to have these seats. We need to relocate you." These seats are like $500 a piece seats. Now, fast forward to Game 3 of the NHL Eastern Conference Finals, and Tampa Bay comes out and says there are going to be certain parts of the arena that Pittsburgh Penguins gear is banned from certain parts of the arena.
Well, that's fine. Who wants to wear Penguins gear anyway?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, keep going with it. Especially since they were pretty much the only team around in the 90s, because the Columbus Blue Jackets didn't exist at that point.
You think I root for the Blue Jackets? I don't root for anything from Columbus.
Oh, we know that. You're not Notre Dame. But then again, the other two closest things you have is Nashville, who just started up not too long ago, and then Chicago and Detroit.
Yeah, I grew up a Chicago fan, actually, because I have family out there.
So, I'm not going to hold that too much against you because of Marion Hosa. But at least you're Western Conference. You're not Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
Philadelphia Flyers can suck it.
But yeah.
But so that brings up the question now. Should the NFL adopt a rule that says teams can't do that, or do you think it's a good idea? Take the Steelers.
I don't necessarily think it's a good idea. I mean, it's funny to me. I won't lie to you. There's a part of me that thinks it's pretty hilarious. But yeah. It's a little shocking.
Well,
yeah, it's weird.
Well, and the funny thing is then the Penguins, somebody created a shirt that was a Tampa Bay blue. In very small print, it says, "This is not A." And in very large print, it said PGH Pens. And in little print, it said shirt. They were trying to get around it pretty well. I have to admit, that was kind of funny. But, I mean, should a team really be complaining about somebody buying tickets, no matter if it's an opposing team, where they're making a ton of revenue off of it?
No, not necessarily. Part of me does get it only because of some certain situations. Like, I've been to Reds games before where I've had friends with me from other teams, and they'll be like, "Hey, do you want to go do this contest in the Jumbotron? But we need to only have people wearing Reds gear." I'm like, okay, well, I guess you can enjoy that beer you just bought at our stadium, but you can't be on the Jumbotron. So I understand it. I don't necessarily think it's right, but part of me does kind of see where they're coming from at the same time, and I know that's kind of villainous of me to say, but yeah, I don't think I'd ever go that far, but I do understand what teams are doing. I do understand, Major League Baseball prime example there, because when you're watching a game, you're seeing the angle from center field, going to the pitcher's mound, going to the catcher, going to behind the backstop, and you're seeing all your hometown fans paying prime money there. So yeah, there's a part of me that gets, if you're watching the Pirates, that you don't want to see a Cardinals fan sitting in the front row right there of PNC Park.
But at the same time, if they're going to drop $1,000 and that tax revenue is going to go to the city, which is going to turn around and keep my taxes lower, why do I care?
I don't know if it's that far. I think you're broadening the horizon of it, but I mean, I get where you're coming from.
I mean, and granted, as a fan, I mean, and yes, St. Louis Cardinals suck. Chicago Cubs, well, we won't go there because
they don't suck. Yeah.
No, I can't say that because I was a big Sammy Sosa, Mark Grace fan, and Ryan Sandberg. Although they screwed Ryan Sandberg over, so they got a strike in my book. But no, I mean it's just kind of it's one of those situations where, and we actually did somewhat see it with the NFL. We had, and neither of us I know can remember the team, and I'd have to go back and look it up, but there was a banner being hung at an opposing team stadium by fans, and one of the players walked up and like ripped it down. Part of me wants to say it was like it was like the Green Bay Packers against like the Minnesota Vikings type thing.
I think so.
But I mean, even something to that extent. I mean, these people have paid a ton of money because those seats aren't cheap,
right?
No matter what. And you know, to sit there and say, well, we just don't want that in our stadium, it's kind of like, you don't want what? Paying customers? I don't know, maybe the detail side of it. Like somebody pulling in with a Mercedes and going, nope, we don't like that car.
I don't think it's that. I don't know, man. I'm half and half. Like, I won't lie to you, and it's a little different because, you know, when you see a Bengals-Steelers game in your home, you're automatically in enemy territory of a team that doesn't have a huge fan base. For me, when I pay $75 to sit in my season ticket seats 12 rows up at the end zone at Paul Brown Stadium, I am pissed when the guy in front of me has a terrible towel and he's hitting me in the face with it. I'm not going to lie. I'm not mad at them necessarily. I'm more mad at fellow Bengal fans for either selling their tickets to make extra money there or letting that shit happen and not doing anything about it.
Well, I can understand the terrible towel. Like somebody bringing out something that essentially could, I won't say do harm, but could essentially touch other people. It's kind of like the fan that brings a sign that holds it up all game, where in your face.
I've had that in front of me.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that. I mean, if you're gonna go to a game, leave the terrible towel at home. I mean, same like that. If you're gonna go to a game and get drunk, shut up. Don't turn around and start something with an opposing team's fan and try to basically brawl them. Or if you're a cop, don't try to fight somebody in the alleyway after the game. That happened in Pittsburgh. I won't lie.
I can imagine.
So, but, I mean, it's kind of one of those things. Again, if they're willing to spend the money, if it's resold tickets, that might be one thing. But if they purely spent the money on, Bengals.com, going to Ticketmaster, buying the tickets legitimately, you know what? Okay. Be respectful about it, but I can understand it.
I still hate them.
I know. So, I live in enemy territory.
Yeah, I get that.
So, all right. So we'll kind of move off of this. I wanted to at least get that out of that immediately. But big news kind of coming out of Cincinnati, and that would be keeping a safety for 4 more years.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
And Mr. Shawn Williams is now a Bengal for the next 5 years, I believe it is.
Correct.
For the Bengals. So I like the signing. I think it's they truly said that They want to keep people in house.
I love it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's already proven that he can do the job. It's just now he needs to prove he can do the job all season.
And I think he will. I mean, I've spoken to Sky's the limit about Shawn Williams. I think after free agency, I wrote an article on Straight Pipe saying that it's his time to shine, and I fully believe he's going to grasp this. And yeah, man, I'm stoked that he's going to be on this. He's going to be on this team for a few more years. I think that him and Iloka are going to be a very formidable team. You got to really everything we hear about Darren Smith as far as being their backup, being their Shawn Williams, which Shawn Williams was to Reggie Nelson, George Iloka. You're now going to see Darren Smith be that to Shawn Williams and George Iloka. You got to like that, man. And I think that bringing him here, a guy that's really built his way through, anytime he's been on the field, he's really looked impressive. You keep this secondary young, you keep it intact, with I think your oldest player being maybe your best corner in that secondary. I don't know. I would argue that Iloka is probably the best player in the secondary on this team, honestly, as much as I love Adam Jones. But yeah, man, it's the right move, I think. It's a guy that is homegrown talent, but it's the Bengals doing what the Bengals do. They don't overpay for guys who they think are going to want too much money. They go out there and sign the guys they feel are going to continue to help them win, and they continue to bring these guys, and they're homegrown talent. Other than Marvin Jones, Mohamed Sanu, you don't really see a lot of draft picks the Bengals let walk away. But we obviously don't blame them either for letting those guys walk away. At least I don't.
No, and I mean it's kind of good for the Bengals in a way because they have locked up somebody that they think is going to be a solid talent for them. They didn't obviously spend too much money because he's still kind of unproven for a whole season. Mm-hmm. And so you don't allow his cap to kind of get out of control.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's been the big concern with the Bengals is the idea that, they can't afford players or they won't, pay players. Well, here's one guy who's going to get paid at least half decently, and the Bengals hold on to him for a while, but they don't have to worry about him kind of playing himself out of Cincinnati.
Right. Yeah, man, I certainly agree with that. And I think that that's what makes it so nice about it, is you continue to see guys like Shawn Williams that they keep here who really have earned this shot. I don't know if I've ever seen a guy who go from second string to starter and extension in a month and a half before, but it's still awesome. I'm super stoked for the kid. I think that he's done everything to earn this for sure.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think that it's the right move, man. And like I said, it's the Bengals doing what the Bengals do. It's that homegrown talent, it's keeping those guys here, and the ones that they feel like are going to continue to keep them on this run, they keep them here, and that's why I love it. It's just a huge thing for this team, and like I said, I can't talk enough about how much I love the idea of George Iloka and Shawn Williams laying people out.
Yeah, that. I mean, and don't get me wrong. I mean, we're not saying by any means that he is Reggie Nelson.
No, but the ceiling's higher.
What's that?
I think the ceiling's higher.
Oh, I think his potential is out of this world if he truly can solidify himself in this lineup and be what I think the Bengals have expected him to be. Because if I'm not mistaken, he was supposed to be kind of that person competing against George Iloka for the starting position originally, wasn't he?
He was, and then Iloka ended up being one of the best safeties in football. So
I mean, we still haven't seen his talent level and capability because George Iloka just kind of came out of nowhere.
Well, Martavius Bryant saw Shawn Williams' talent ability. He just got away with one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll let that go one of these days.
Back to that Steelers thing, aren't you?
Dude, I will never get over it. Ever.
Believe me, I probably won't hear the end of it until the Bengals win a playoff game.
It's going to happen.
It better.
Well, hey, let's talk about that. So,
yeah,
let's keep moving forward with this. We're talking about this team making signings and making moves and making things happen. How about Tyler Boyd? The Bengals locking up their second-round pick there, man. Obviously, you knew he's going to sign. We're way past the days of first-round draft picks negotiating their way out of their rookie contracts and things like that. But yeah, so they're locking up these young guys. They're getting them in camp. They're getting them ready for the season. No distractions. We know William Jackson hasn't signed yet, but we expect him to do that here in a matter of time. So what are your thoughts there, man? As far as what's the word I'm looking for? I'm sorry. As far as he gets his chance now. Tyler Boyd is now. We all expected to be the guy that would be the. Wow, I am out of it. I'm sorry. Tyler Boyd, we all expect to be the guy, kind of that slot receiver guy. Now it's set in stone. How much better how big does that help things getting ready for camp?
Oh, I think it sets a precedence that he's going to be there from day one. We're not having to worry about any idea of holding out because his rookie deal's not signed. And I think it also gets him involved immediately because now, he's going to be in Cincinnati. He's going to be working out at the stadium, and he's going to be doing OTAs with the team, and he's going to consistently, be around the team. And so, again, it's nice because it's a distraction that's out of the way for him. He can focus on football. He can focus on building a rapport with Andy Dalton and A.J. McCarron. He can focus on creating rapport with A.J. Green and with Brandon LaFell. He can work on building, rapport with the defensive backs who are probably his biggest ally on this team to help him prepare for the season because those guys, minus Williams, or Jackson, is basically seen the NFL style, has seen the NFL speed, and so that's going to be the real tool to basically get him up to being ready for week one.
Yeah, I think that's a huge part for sure, and that's what makes this obviously a huge deal there. So yeah, I guess now who's all signed now? He signed. Christian Westerman signed the other day.
Yep.
So, and we obviously know how much I love that pick.
Third round.
Yeah. Thank you. So Nick Vigil signed.
Round or Cody Core.
Cody Core signed. Yeah, the kid from Illinois signed. So is it just down to Billings and Jackson?
I think so.
Huh.
So, hey, Billings and Jackson. Billings, I know you were supposed to be a first-round pick, but just sign your deal and get over it.
Oh, dude. Well, like I said, we're long gone past the day of the Eli Mannings getting themselves out of the where they could go and things like that. So,
I don't know, and he's somebody that that's going to be excited to prove his worth and prove that prove to the rest of the NFL that they made a mistake by letting him drop.
Oh my God, I cannot wait.
So, he's got more of a chip on his shoulder than anything else. So he's ready to get going too.
Oh my God, it's gonna be awesome. I can't wait, man. So speaking of that, what's his name? What's his name from NFL.com? Just kind of touched on this real fast. Adam Rankin, I think his name is. He wrote that Inside the NFL on Showtime.
Yeah, I think you're right with that. I couldn't remember if it was Rankin or Harrison.
So I don't normally criticize analysts because I know they're just kind of doing a job. That guy's an idiot. I don't know if you saw this week. He was doing his breakdown, and he predicted the Bengals this year after a 12-4 season. And his main reason was the losses of Jones and Sanu and Hugh Jackson going to Cleveland. He expects the Bengals to go 4-12 because of that. Did you see this?
Yeah. And you know what? Adam Rank is first off.
I mean, he's a total Steelers homer. He always has been.
Yeah, but here's the question: who let him out of Western Psych over here in Pittsburgh?
I don't know.
I mean, somebody had to let him escape out of that straitjacket.
I just, I get if you think the Bengals would take a step back with a couple losses like that. It's huge, the biggest loss of the three, if you ask. So, my part in this is, and I understand, if you think they're going to take a drop-off. That makes sense because that's a big deal to kind of go through what they're about to go through. But to tell me they're going to have that big of a drop-off is utter bull. We're talking about a team that has so much talent. You could probably name, would you say at the top of your head, you could probably name 12 Bengals. 12 might be high, too. Okay, I could say at least 8 or 9 All-Pros or Pro Bowlers off the top of my head immediately from this team.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's go through it. I think Andy Dalton's a Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
I think either running back could be if they were an every down back.
Okay.
Green and Eifert. That's 5. Offensive line-wise, I think Zeitler's good enough to be a Pro Bowler. I think Whitworth has shown he's a Pro Bowler, obviously. So that's just 7 on the offense. Obviously Geno Atkins. That's without a shadow of a doubt. Carlos Dunlap.
Yep.
I like Michael Johnson a lot. I would say teetering because he has definitely shown amazing talent in the past.
Depends on what year what he brings, what shows up.
Yeah. So that's what. If we count him, I'm at what? 10?
Yeah.
Vontaze Burfict is an obvious one.
Yeah.
And then you've got, I guess Carlos Dancer you can throw in there because he's played at a high level for a long period of time.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you have Adam Jones, you have George Iloka, and Kevin Huber. And, I just probably named like 13 guys you can consider could be potential Pro Bowlers. And they're going to win games, right?
It all has to go back. They're going to play the Steelers every single week, and these guys. I take it with a grain of salt, and the reason I do is because every week when the season comes up, and I do the power rankings article breaking down where they sat, I get mad at other like a Pete Prisco or of course we're part of Fansided, and we're part of Fansided, of course, is part of Sports Illustrated, and I get mad at those guys all the time, especially Monday morning quarterback Peter King, and just because they always seem to basically play the same thing, and that is, well, they do well in the regular season, but when it comes to the postseason, we know. How many times are you going to continuously say it? Every single person who has been around the NFL knows they haven't won. Last year they performed.
They won last year. They won. They let it go.
Well, it was a matter of basically which team didn't lose the way that game went. And I said it. I said it in the article breaking down the game right after the game and the instant reaction. It wasn't a matter of who won that game. It was just a matter of who lost it. Neither team won that game. Because that offense, Jeremy Hill couldn't hold on to a ball to save his life.
A.J. McCarron in the fourth quarter won that game.
No. Vontaze Burfict in the fourth quarter won that game.
I will say both. Because A.J. McCarron in the fourth quarter was unbelievable.
At this point, I'm thinking they just should have handed off to Jake Fisher and told him to bowl some people over because he had a better chance of holding on to that ball than Jeremy Hill did. And we'll get into that in a second because that's the next topic to come up. But we know that Jeremy Hill isn't a great ball handler. And he hasn't for the past 2 years.
Yet.
The past 2 years, we were ready, but when Gresham fumbled the ball this many times in his first couple years, we were ready to kick him to the curb. So what's the standard here? Yeah, you know I'm right, because we were getting so many people were getting fed up with the fact that he could catch the ball, but he couldn't hold on to it, and he had drops, and he had fumbles, and how dare he? I mean, Jeremy Hill and I wrote an article on this, so I don't know how many weeks ago now, about how Jeremy Hill is coming close to equaling Jermaine Gresham's number in 5 years. In just in 3, if he continues on this pace.
I will say that I wouldn't fully, crazily give up on him yet, only because, and this is not comparing talent at all, because they're two completely different backs. Like, Daniel Thompson fumbled 7 times his rookie year. And he ended up being pretty decent, I guess you could say, right?
LT wasn't bad at all.
Yeah.
He also found a way to correct it, and we haven't seen that yet from Jeremy Hill.
Has Adrian Peterson learned how to correct his fumble problem yet? He leads the league in rushing every time he's healthy.
Did he have a fumbling problem?
Oh my God, dude! Yeah, look at every Vikings playoff loss. I guarantee that if Adrian Peterson played in it, he fumbled in a close game. Remember that year with Brett Favre when they almost beat the Saints, Bounty Gate game?
Yeah.
He had 2 fumbles in that game. This year against Seattle, they lose by 1, right? And I understand the shank kick. He has a fumble in that game. Adrian Peterson.
He hasn't corrected it one bit. It's just everybody ignores it because of how many yards he gets.
Yeah.
Jeremy Hill doesn't get that many yards.
Well, no, but his rookie year, he definitely did.
He gets half the yard. Well, his rookie year, Adrian Peterson
broke the rushing record his rookie year. Not the rookie record, the NFL single game record.
I'm sorry. I thought you meant Jeremy Hill's rookie year. I was going to sit there and go, Jeremy Hill's rookie year, Adrian Peterson was sitting on the sidelines for taking a tree branch to get bottom.
And then Jeremy Hill was, from week 8 on, one of the top 2 running backs in the league his rookie year.
But there again, from what week?
Huh?
From what week?
I think it was week 8 on. It's like he was he led the league in rushing for a while there.
First, I thought you said week 2. I was going to sit there and go, wait,
no.
What that sheet are you reading?
No.
I know, because I know I make mistakes on this show all the time.
I left Grandpa's cough medicine off for this week's show.
All right. But you got to watch because Pennsylvania just legalized weed, so you never know when I'm going to come onto the show a little bit loopy, So
we're going to do live shows at your place then.
It's medicinal.
That's fine.
So, what ailment do you have?
Actually a lot. If you must get into it.
well, no. What was it that California or Denver? They had doctors writing prescriptions for just random stuff that probably never existed.
Yeah, basically.
So that's what I'm meaning.
That's fair, but yes.
I have a laundry list too, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, and I think towards the end of the year, obviously minus the playoff fumble, you kind of saw Hill kind of getting back into a groove a little bit. I made that point in my article a couple weeks I wrote when I said I thought he'd bounce back this year. I think, obviously the Ravens game, he ran for 96 yards. There was the Rams game, and I think he ran for 84. The Browns game the week after that, he ran for 95. He did have a 13-yard game in there where he still had 2 touchdowns because that was what Jeremy Hill did last year. But, yeah, I don't know. I still believe that, you make a point of Jermaine Gresham, and that's fair. That's totally fair. I always made the joke with Jermaine Gresham here that he was only good when you threw to him in the end zone or on the sideline. But, yeah.
Don't go that far. He fumbled one on the sideline that stayed on the sideline, didn't go out of bounds.
True. So, yes, correction. Jermaine Gresham was only good when he threw to him in the end zone.
Pretty much.
And, yeah, so I think that's a fair comparison between the two. Yeah, man, it's crazy. But, I don't know. I'm not ready to go and say that put Jeremy Hill's head, in the middle of Fountain Square or anything.
Oh, no, I'm not putting him under a guillotine or anything like that at all. I'm just saying that's something that's got to be his primary focus this season, no matter what. It has to be this idea of he has to hold on to the ball, and I don't care if basically you put, you start handing him baby dolls and telling him he has to protect these baby dolls or whatever, give him some kind of image to picture that ball is for him to take care of it. But any way that you can get him to pay attention, he's got to hold on to this ball.
I think that we will see a much revamped Jeremy Hill this year. I think the touchdowns will still be there, but I think he'll have more yards.
Well, this is basically the make it or break it year because they have to decide pretty quickly on, are they going to have to keep Giovanni Bernard or is Jeremy Hill going to be good enough?
Do you think they'd really have a bell cow? Because I don't think they would. I think that they're going to do whatever they can to keep both guys here. One, I think that the drop-off in talent after those two in running backs is pretty deep, not just for the Bengals, but really in the NFL, as far as like having a 1-2 pack. Maybe Tennessee's going to rival them this year. Obviously Pittsburgh has Le'Veon Bell, DeAngelo Williams, but that's like 90% Bell, 10% Williams. Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
You know, I think that as far as a 1-2 punch, and it's forbidden them well. I mean, they won, even though Hill struggled last year, and he didn't get a lot of yards, and he averaged like I think 3-something yards a carry. He still did some cool things for the team. He still scored like 14 touchdowns, and he still made some plays that were out there. And he really improved his pass catching abilities last year too. So that was kind of nice to see. Obviously not Gio-wise.
He had 11 touchdowns, 1 receiving touchdown, so he had 12 total last year.
I was close.
Yeah. I just have his stats up because I was looking up his, fumbles lost versus fumbles and all that fun stuff.
There are some that look really bad. Like, there's some where it's like, oh, crap, I can see that's the guy making a hell of a play. And then there's some, like that pitch pass against San Diego, that's the one where it's like, it just makes you cringe. You're like, oh.
Yep. Yeah. Well, it goes back to, again, Hill has to be better this year. Now, are they going to make a play to keep both Giovanni Bernard and Jeremy Hill? Absolutely. But I think it becomes the idea of how crucial is it for them to what kind of money do they have to offer Giovanni Bernard to ensure that he stays here, compared to what can they let him walk for?
Well,
I think that very much sits on Jeremy Hill and how he performs.
Yeah, I did too. But at the same time, I just don't think you can really let Giovanni Bernard walk. And you're going to put up a fight, obviously. And you're right, the money does play a part there, but you can find a Jeremy Hill. I don't really know if you can find a lot of guys like Giovanni Bernard. How many guys can you say are like him in the league right now?
Like Gio?
Right.
2?
Right, yeah. I don't know of any running backs that catch the ball better than him.
No.
And I don't know of as many guys that can really do things in space like he can either.
Tomato
Yeah.
You knew I had to throw that in there somewhere.
One of these days, when they run that goal line, formation with him, I want him to get a handoff. That'd just be awesome. The two guys this year I want to see score a touchdown more than anything are Pecco and Ryan Hewitt. I want one of those guys to get in the end zone this year. I don't care how. I just want to see it.
I want to see Jake Fisher get a touchdown.
Hey, man, we were close a couple times last year. Hugh Jackson was all about dialing up Jake Fisher in the red zone.
Oh, I know, right? I'd stick him back there. Give Hewitt a snap off and just hand it to him and watch him run people over.
Who do you think's the true tight end 2 on this team? Because I know they use Hewitt as the H-back. Is it Hewitt or Croft, really?
Croft.
Yeah, I think that's fair, too.
I think Hewitt has accepted, and we actually saw it a little bit in Hard Knocks 2 years ago.
Yeah.
When they sat down with Hewitt and they really were going, listen, your future here is at this position. And I think they established that. Now, not to say that Hewitt isn't off the table if there's an injury, but they literally looked at him at Hard Knocks and said, this is where your future is. We are looking to you as our H-back, or as our fullback, because we need somebody there.
You know what the best thing is about Ryan Hewitt, having Ryan Hewitt on your team?
What's that?
You can run Spider 2, Y Banana, and he knows exactly what to do every time.
Fall to the ground, cry like a baby, and have everybody on the defense just stare at him so that everybody else can run into the end zone.
Spider 2 wide banana, man. That's the John Gruden specialty.
Oh, I know. I was playing off the banana there.
I know.
Okay.
So I guess let's kind of coach back there, because one of the big things is like talking things this week. And gosh, people bear with us because we know news is very slow in between the draft and training camp. So we're covering as much as we can here, obviously. You saw Jeremy Hill this week really attack that exact issue we've been discussing so far on the show, and really kind of like he's taking responsibility. I mean, hell, from the night of the playoff game is still his posted tweet on his Twitter account. So he's motivated by that, and that's a good thing to see, obviously. Your thoughts on that? We've obviously discussed. We both agree he needs to do better holding on the ball. That goes without being said. And how good he is, and how good he can be, and the things he can bring to the table. I think you lean with me in the fact that we both agree that Jeremy Hill is going to be more rookie year Jeremy Hill than second year Jeremy Hill. On paper, I think if you look at what he brings to the table, if he's clicking and he's not fumbling the ball, easily top 5 running back in the league. And I'm not being biased as a Bengals fan there either. Just those things you saw in that rookie year, that explosiveness, that second gear that a guy his size had isn't fair that you would see at times. Like that touchdown he had against Denver on Monday night last year 2 years ago was absurd. So, how do you feel about this? I mean, do you think it's the right thing? Do you think it's great that he's being honest about it? Do you think if you're a Steelers linebacker like Ryan Shazier, you're saying, I'm going to find a way to take the ball from you, and I know you're cautious about it now? Or are you great with it like I am? Are you saying, hell yeah, attack that issue and just get that shit right for this season?
Well, I mean, I'm one that, he definitely needs to get it right for the season. I'm on that bandwagon for sure. I'm one that I would still love to see the intensity.
Yeah.
Him. But at the same time, he's got to figure out a way to take care of the ball. At the end of the day, it is about possession.
I miss North-South Jeremy Hill. Like, that was Jeremy Hill his rookie year. That was outstanding. That we thought Giovanni Bernard may not ever be the regular down back for this team ever again after North-South Jeremy Hill.
And then he decided that all of a sudden he had to play an East-West game and just all of a sudden became bad.
Yeah.
And he started trying to play almost Giovanni Bernard's style, and that's not what Jeremy Hill is.
Yeah, I'm with you. And that was what was always hard for me to kind of accept with that.
And so, I mean, for Bernard is East-West, create space, get to the corners, and make something out of nothing, get the yardage there. Also, throw a quick block, screen off, and become a quick option, a second or third option there.
Yeah, don't let Stephon Tuitt pick the ball off the ground.
No, and actually hit the guy.
Right.
So that your quarterback isn't having to try to make a tackle and breaking his thumb.
Speaking of that, so Sam and I went to Buffalo Wild Wings a couple days ago, and I had my Bengals hat on. And this lady comes up to me, in Cincinnati, mind you, and is like, I'm a diehard Steelers fan. Andy Dalton's such a pussy. He couldn't play after he broke his thumb. And I'm like, lady, give me another server. Like, I'm already done with you.
Yeah, well, no, what my exact response is, your quarterback couldn't have hit a target to save his life after he injured his shoulder. What's his excuse? The
most dramatic human being ever, Ben Roethlisberger. Oh, man, I'm hurt. I'm going to be out 7 weeks, play next week. Oh, God, that. What was it, 3 times this year? The St. Louis game, they're like, he's gone like a month. He was back like 2 weeks later. What was the other one? Was it Seattle, where like he was playing the next week he came in as the second string because I guess Landry Jones got hurt and he threw for 400 yards.
Well, what's funny is, and this has been in the Pittsburgh media, for the most part, those guys anymore are told that they can answer questions, but as for timelines, they have to keep their mouth shut. The coaches and the trainers and the doctors will assess the timeline. You keep your mouth shut. That's pretty much a rule in Pittsburgh anymore.
Yeah, well, even Aqib Talib was like, nah, he was lying. He was totally lying. He was 100% healthy.
Yeah. I think he needed a week off to try to go to Palm Springs and hit on some girls and see if he get himself in more trouble.
Ayo.
I still won't let. I still think I'll probably get in trouble from the few Steelers fans that do pay attention to this podcast.
And they'll just say, "Where's your Super Bowls?"
Yeah, that's true. I'll hear that too. But
that's the annoying thing ever.
What I'll hear is, well, he got married, and I'll sit there and say, listen, I still think that's kind of a sham. All we've proven is that he's straight. 2 kids. I mean, you still can't prove to me that he's grown up. After two separate instances with 2 separate people, with him supposedly with some kind of sexual abuse charge hanging over his head, and then all of a sudden 6 months later he's getting married. Yeah, okay.
Right.
Yeah, you're telling me that's for love? No. That's basically get people off his back and say, oh, I'm married now. Doesn't mean a thing.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's frustrating for sure, and that's what it always gets my nerves. Like the fact that people go defend him, like, it just makes me so mad about that stuff. And like when I'm here at games and I see women like wearing Roethlisberger jerseys, it blows my mind. Like,
when you should have heard after the second time that he was being accused of it, you were hearing women and dads coming out of the woodwork going, I will never wear his jersey again. He can't respect women, blah, blah, blah. And 2 weeks later, what do you see? Pink Roethlisberger jerseys everywhere. And it's like, where did this whole thing go? Oh, well, he hasn't been convicted yet. Are you kidding me?
It's kind of like the lady after the whole Ray Rice thing that went on TV and was wearing his jersey and was like, I think anytime a woman hits a man, he has every right to hit her back. And I was like, and that lady's never going to get a job ever again because she was on CNN when she said that.
I know, right?
Where did this conversation go? Wow, that was like.
It took a left turn at things the Steelers have done wrong.
Oh man, what was it? Le'Veon Bell. That's my favorite. Was Le'Veon Bell when he got arrested for weed, and he was like, "I didn't know I couldn't smoke."
Oh, the joke there was Bell's blunt.
Yeah, that was my fantasy football team name that year.
I'll stay with. Oops, I farted again.
Mine is the Eiffel Tower now.
I had that, and somebody, I put my head together with one of my coworkers, and we decided to do a parody.
Fair enough.
So, because randomly on Facebook something came back up with the guy that's saying "Leave Britney alone." So we had to play off of that one.
Fair enough. So, I guess we've kind of, try to get this back on track. Man.
So, the Bengals made a claim for Mettenberger.
Yeah, they did. They did, man. Kind of a question there. Makes you wonder if my thoughts about A.J. McCarron possibly having trade value might stand or something.
Well, I think we're going back to what the Bengals always do. They always take 3 guys into training camp.
But those are 3 quality players, man. That's not like you're bringing in like Keith Wenning or Josh Johnson. That's a pretty good football player in Zach Mettenberger.
He's good. I'll give him that, but he's not starting quality. He's
no.
He's not like A.J. McCarron. I think what they've done here in this instance is they have a third-string quarterback that if something goes wrong, say Andy Dalton reoccurs on his thumb injury and they have to place him on any type of list, say he tears some tendons or whatever, now you have A.J. McCarron in a quality second-string quarterback with Mettenberger. But at the same time, do you honestly see Mettenberger being on this team come week 1?
If they had signed him, I think it would have been a hard cut. Like, I'm pretty high on Zach Mettenberger, honestly. I don't think he's like when they bring in John Skelton or anybody like that by any stretch. or like Jordan Palmer. I think he's much better than those guys.
You mean you're not in 40-year-old Ken Anderson again?
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's not like if they would have brought back Crazy Legs Kitna.
Crazy Legs Kitna. Eh.
Yeah, so...
He's still able to play football. He's only, what, Brett Favre's age?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, he's got to donate to his high school still, so...
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, man, I don't know, like, I don't mind them doing it, honestly. Like, I know a lot of people are, like, up in arms about it. Like, how dare they with A.J. McCarron and Andy Dalton? Like, the one option thing you got to look at is if Zach Meckenberger comes in and he has an awesome, like, preseason, you know someone's going to make an offer. 2, like, your point, maybe he's the guy they're looking at as the third-string guy behind McCarron and Dalton. Because I think he's past the point of, like, time player he's played where he can be on the practice squad. Was it? No, he has one more year he could have been on practice squad, right? 3 years before you have to either be on a main roster?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So, I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't see anything like horrible from that at all. But, yeah, I think that I don't really mind the move. I like the training camp competition. I like the options they could have made with there. And the people that are, like, freaking out about it, I don't think they really understand. Like, yeah, I agree, people. A.J. McCarron and Andy Dalton's the best one of the best quarterback tandems you can think of, besides maybe
the Super Bowl winning tandem that was on the Denver Broncos.
Them. I kind of like Tony Romo and Dak Prescott a lot, but that's because Dak Prescott's a rookie, so I can't compare him to A.J. McCarron yet. I really liked Alex Smith and Chase Daniel, but obviously that's gone now.
By the way, Tony Romo there was a great meme on Tony Romo.
Which one?
The one where he was supposedly arrested in North Carolina for going into a men's restroom.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, he was. There was a meme about him being arrested going into a men's restroom in North Carolina.
Why does that guy get so much crap? I still don't understand that. Like,
because he is yet to figure out how to stay healthy for a whole season. And he's kind of the Deion Sanders where, like, turf toe. If
he wasn't the Dallas Cowboys, like, let's say that Tony Romo was the quarterback of the Jaguars, would anyone care as much as they do about his injuries and his problems?
No, because he would have stunk for the past, like, 6 years.
Dude, like, honestly, he's probably the best undrafted player ever in NFL history. And, like, he gets so much crap, and I just don't understand it. Like,
we're saying best undrafted quarterback, right?
I think undrafted player. Like, I love James Harrison, but
Vontaze Burfict.
All right, let's go. I mean, I love Vontaze. You know, I love Vontaze, but like the things that like Vontaze has done so far, and the things that Romo's done in his career, like I don't think they're comparable yet. Obviously, being two different positions at two different sides of the ball, sure, but.
By the way, you can find Tim on Twitter at TimDaniel24 if you want to say some like mean stuff about that one. No, I'm kidding.
Dude, that's fine. Like I will stand by that. Like in the draft era, how many guys do you know? I mean, Arian Foster had a hell of a career before he fizzled out, or is fizzling out in currently, however you want to call it.
I'm gonna use Stripehype's Twitter to retweet any mean comment just for that. That's perfect,
dude.
This is the hate that Tim gets for that comment about Tony Romo.
I love Vontaze. You know I love Vontaze.
Oh, I know you do.
But, like, dude, like, you're talking about a guy that consistently has played at a high level for 10 years now. That was undrafted. That came from some small boo-foo school. And quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
I think you are just obsessed with the fact that every girl that he has dated has been extremely hot.
That has nothing to do with this at all. Like,
hey,
Alex,
you not have to at least pull something. We've gotten off the Will Fuller thing, so I had to find something.
That's fine. I mean, Alex Rodriguez dated beautiful women, but I don't think he's the greatest thing to ever happen like most people do. Actually, he's pretty damn good. He's had a hell of a career, yeah. Who's the other one? Ben Wallace, I guess, would be the comparison as far as the NBA for undrafted players who did big things.
Yeah.
Still not Tony Romo. Oh, no, Ben Wallace does have a championship and a couple Defensive Players of the Year.
Yeah.
So I guess there's like maybe the closest to that. But yeah, man, like I'll stand by that. Like as far as that goes. But going back to where we were with Mettenberger, because we're all over the place on tonight's show. I don't mind it. Like I said, there's a couple different ways you can look at it there. But I do think San Diego's a better place for him. That's where he went, right? Hold on. Fact check. Because I did the Giants were the other team to put a claim in. Hold on. This happens all live on air too, people. Of course.
If anybody in Pittsburgh is listening to this, if they listen to 93.7 The Fan, they already know this. You should hear half the time how those guys, all of a sudden, it's like you'll hear typing in the background from somebody, like, looking something up, trying to prove the other one wrong.
San Diego Chargers, yeah, it's San Diego.
Okay.
Actually, my buddy works for Pittsburgh radio station. He's a Mark Madden's producer. Randy Slack.
Yep. I think we did talk about that a little bit ago.
Yeah, Randy's a good buddy of mine.
He is an absolute jerk on the radio. He is an absolute nice guy in person.
Yeah, I love Randy. He's a good dude.
I was talking about Mark Madden.
Oh, I don't care about Mark Madden.
I've never met Randy, sorry.
Yeah. Anytime I see Mark Madden like on those NFL shows, it's like the Steelers are God, no one else matters. Jack Lambert is literally Jesus Christ walking the earth. It's like, I'm done.
I know he's not. I know he doesn't typically go that. Like if you listen to like his radio station, he bashes like every possible instance. If the Steelers lose, all of a sudden, this guy's getting old. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger, D'Angelo Williams is old. And they expect these guys to perform. They need to get somebody real in here. All of a sudden, they'll win. Oh, he's the greatest guy in the world. I mean, you have one of the best quarterbacks. I'm sitting there going, are you just trying to get ratings, Mark?
He is.
It's like, come on, make up your mind. Like, it's the same with the Penguins. Sidney Crosby's washed up. He scores the past two, game winners. All of a sudden, Sidney Crosby has been one of the best assets to this team. I'm like, oh, really, Mark? Like, I know half your audience is high, but the other half remembers what you just said like 2 weeks ago.
Right.
So.
Yeah, man. So I've never been a Mark Madden guy. I do appreciate his wrestling coverage, though. He's pretty good at covering WWE.
Oh, that's what he was best known for, wasn't it?
Yeah, just about.
So, but I jokingly say that's why he's not on the sports channel in Pittsburgh. He has lost a lot of weight. I'll give him that. Like, congratulations to him. I think he dropped like some ridiculous 200 pounds. So, good for him for that one. But yeah, he definitely is a homer.
Yeah, for sure. But hey, people might think I am with all the things I say about our guys.
Except Tony Romo.
Don't hate on the Romo, man.
I'm one that I just, outside of like Jessica Simpson and all the girls that he's dated, I just don't think he's proven himself. He's now his value overall. Yes, he's proven. In terms of what every Dallas fan wants to basically make him out to be, which is like a Hall of Famer, he's not proven. No,
I'm not saying he's a Hall of Famer, but I think he's like maybe a Super Bowl away from being one.
Yeah, I think you have to give him 2 on that one. Mm-hmm. He's got to overcome all the injuries he's had.
Yeah, but hell, I mean...
He may be on the Hall of Fame with 1 as, the best quarterback to only win 1 because he's been injured for 90% of his career.
Peyton Manning only had 1 till this year, and he barely even won this one.
He didn't win this one. His defense did.
Yeah, I know.
I was going to say Von Miller won this one.
So let's kind of talk a little bit here real quick. Some articles we've seen up on the site this week. Yes, we are still a member. We are still, most importantly, an affiliate of StripeHype.com, the website Matthew and I both contribute to, where Matthew is one of our excellent co-editors. A lot of really good work this week. Emil wrote a really good article about the Bengals keeping attitude year in and year out.
Yep.
But the big one that I think a lot of people are really kind of looking at from the site, and the team's been talking about, is Serenity Bishop, one of our writers, wrote an article about Brandon Boykin potentially being a fit for the Bengals as far as adding depth. I like where he's coming from. I think it's a really good point. I don't necessarily think it's the best move. No disrespect to Serenity by any stretch. I think he had a great article. But, yeah, I agree. You can never have too many corners. But this is a team that's already pretty loaded at corner.
Yeah, but as we kind of talked about, too, previously, I don't think we see Lewis Harris being really a consistent corner. And they have 4 great corners, but as we saw last year, how many of them got injured? I mean, Adam Jones was injured at one point. Darqueze Dennard can't stay on the field to save his life. Again, Tony Romo. You have Drake Kirkpatrick, who had a couple little ailments, whether it be like a little bit of a concussion issue, for a couple games, or what was it, ankle?
He was. You can put all this in there all you want. He was terrible last year. Let's just be honest. Yeah,
I mean, so again, we see the depth there, but they like maxed out their depth at one point in this team, and so it kind of comes back to, okay, the people you have on the team, and granted, I'm not sitting there saying that they should make this move, but what I am saying is that it's not crazy to think about looking at another corner for this team, because they maxed out their depth on corner last year. They maxed out their depth on the whole defensive backs last year. So the real question becomes is, are they prepared to run into that same situation this next year?
I think so. I mean, I think that, one, like, he might be buried this year because it's his rookie year, but I think William Jackson would probably start for any team in the league, honestly.
Especially the Steelers.
Yeah. Have you seen that video Cincy Jungle shared of, like, the Steelers fans going nuts when the Bengals make the pick? Like, they're super pissed.
Well, of course they are.
And then they're like, why would the Bengals do that? Like, the Bengals knew we wanted him. How dare they? And then they take Artie Burns, and they turn around. They're like, oh, man, I love Artie Burns. And they're sitting there watching the draft, and everything ESPN says, they're like, yeah, he's physical. He had 6 interceptions. Whoa. And it's like, you guys are literally repeating the television. But, yeah, I think that Jackson's going to be an outstanding corner for this team.
Absolutely.
I don't really worry about the loss of Leon Hall. I do think Brandon Boykin would be an upgrade from Leon Hall, to be honest, as far as what he did last year too. But
yeah,
man. I mean, I'm not against it. I just don't think I would do it.
Yeah, and I said I'm not going to sit there and say that Boykin's the right pick or Boykin's the right move at this time. But what I am saying is that if the right person were to walk through the door, or if the right situation were to come up where somebody would release, and we won't even go starting. We'll go, kind of a good depth guy who is proven, a little better, maybe a little better than Boykin, overall.
Yeah.
The thing that is attractive about Boykin, and the thing why I think, for the most part, and I can't speak for Serenity, but obviously I can kind of speak from the article, but the big thing about Boykin is he has experience in the AFC North.
Yeah.
And that in itself is kind of a key point to, he knows the teams he's going to face. He even knows the archenemy.
But he's also the archenemy that stood above Giovanni Bernard laying on the ground and celebrated his concussion.
I'm not saying that everything's right about him.
I know.
I said that he's the perfect fit for sure, but again, I mean, you're looking at something that essentially has come down to, if they have the option for a guy who has the experience in the AFC North, now kind of has a chip on his shoulder, because not only was he cut from the Steelers, before the 2015 season, now he's been cut again by the Carolina Panthers, and so he's kind of looking, going, wait, what did I do wrong?
Well, yeah, I get that point for sure, but, like, what could have possibly gone wrong in Carolina for him to go? Like, what did Carolina see about him? They said we don't want to have this guy anymore. Like, this is a team that lost Josh Norman, who was one of the top 2 or 3 corners in the league last year. Maybe you can obviously argue the best corner last year. So like, and they had to draft a ton of corners. Like, what about Brandon Boykin as far as not being a veteran leader on that team and them losing that good of a football player? Like, something's up there.
Yeah, no, I'm not. And again, as I said, it's more of a devil's advocate.
Yeah.
It's somebody like that should be somebody that the Bengals are at least calling and saying, okay, what are we looking at? What's the situation? Maybe bringing in to at least take a closer look at physically and saying, let's see if it's somebody that we think might fit our system or might even fit our team. And if the answer is no at the end of the day, then what do? Just spend money to get the guy to show up, so maybe $300-400? That's it?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, what are they out? Pennies to them?
Yeah. I mean, that's fair for sure.
So, I mean, at least bringing somebody in to take a closer look at him isn't something that, I would shake at this point. But there again, I'm not by any means saying Boykin is the answer, or Boykin should be a pickup for the Bengals by any stretch.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, definitely Serenity. There's no way I was saying disrespectfully. You had a hell of an article, man, and we definitely appreciated it. So you gave us something to talk about for sure.
Read it.
Yeah.
Check those points.
While you're there, you can check out. It's time to get ready for fantasy football, everybody. So Tim Daniel, for the first time in God knows how long, contributed to the website. Sorry about that, everyone. Got started the Bengals fantasy football preview where, I'm going to cover as many players as I can on this. Yes, you're going to get a fantasy football preview about Rex Burkhead at some point. I'm telling you. So Andy Dalton obviously was the easiest one to start at, getting in there and kind of talk about what he's bringing. I'm still in shock that people don't find him to be a quarterback one. I still think, and I make that point there. I think the gains of LaFell and Boyd definitely weigh out the losses of Jones and Sanu. So if you get a chance to check that out, hopefully I can help you in your draft and you can win some money because of me. Don't count on it.
And bills can be sent to Tim Daniel at I don't know his address. No, I mean, definitely fantasy football is going to be coming up on us soon, especially drafts. That's kind of the next thing to look at least from a fan side. And we are called fan-sided.
LOL.
So, obviously, fantasy football is a big part of what we're about. And definitely something that, keep an eye on because there's going to be some profiles coming out. Some are going to contradict others because we know Tim will probably write, or this week, of course, writing about Andy Dalton. In 2 or 3 weeks, he'll tell you how A.J. McCarron is the best pickup you can. But I
was actually funny you say that. So my buddy, one of my really good friends, we were kind of talking about. We're not in the same league. He plays in like a dynasty league. It's pretty deep, and he's like the biggest A.J. McCarron fan. Like he's one of those guys that tries to argue with me at bars that McCarron's a better future player than Dalton, all that stuff. Just complete ridiculousness. And he's talking about this dynasty team where they keep 7 players. They have a 20-man roster. They get to keep 7 players a year. And I'm like, you keep A.J. McCarron and store him on your bench, don't you? And just in case. And he's like, yep, just in case. You never know what's going to happen. Like, I'm like, do you like Alabama? He's like, no, I hate him. Then why? Why waste the roster spot?
Have you seen how beautiful his wife has made Cincinnati?
But that has nothing to do with your fantasy football team. If it was the Fantasy Hot Wives League, yeah, he'd be my first pick, but...
This is a Fantasy Hot Wives team. I mean, what? We've got...
Well, you still have a competition here between Dalton and McCarron.
Yeah, oh, yeah. She's not bad at all, either. But, what? We have... AJ Green's newly married, right?
He is.
Who else is on that train now?
Man.
Gino's on that train.
Gino is. Adam Jones is.
Yeah.
Adam Jones is like the greatest Instagram follow ever, by the way.
Instagram. Just look at his Twitter. That's even funny on itself.
You know what's funny about that is he followed me on Twitter before I followed him. Can you imagine just sitting at work in your office one day and your phone breaks that says Pac-Man Jones is following you? You're like, what?
What he's not telling you is he's secretly a closet Notre Dame fan.
Hey, man, Tyler Eifert, you know.
There must have been the suggestion.
Yeah.
Tyler Eifert must have looked at him and said, really, you got to follow this Tim Daniels shit.
Bengal fans better start appreciating the Domers. They're turning in talent.
But we know that fantasy is going to be a big part of, especially even part of Stripe Pipe, but just as much part of this show here, because we definitely want to break down, maybe some sleepers week to week once we get close to the season.
Oh, we will.
So
you'll probably see my articles out then. I'm looking at doing this series of confessions of a fantasy football addict. You might see me writing those stories during the season because I'm not saying I'm an addict, but I am saying that maybe I should not be around a television or computer screen during football season.
Tim, the first thing about fixing an addiction is admitting you have a problem.
I know.
But so, of course, to close out, do you have everybody's favorite picking up or putting down?
Yeah, man. Let's do this week. Let's go ahead with our excellent picking up or putting down. You ready?
But let's do the official reset. I mean, because we have to.
Okay.
This is Men in Stripes presented by Stripe Hype, a member of Fansided, who happens to be owned by Sports Illustrated, who happens to have a lot of fun, and not to admit, we are looking for writers.
We are.
So.
And you can be an excellent part of this podcast from time to time when Matthew and I are unable to make it, or like it was a couple weeks ago when I came down sick out of nowhere.
Or just basically when Tim can't make it, because it seems like that I've had every co-host possible now.
I think you have.
So, and you've had none?
Yeah, I haven't had any yet.
So we need to have me take a week off one of these times just to see how you do. Of course, we have a new co-editor. Dylan has moved on. We have Emil, who has joined us. I know you mentioned one of his articles, but he's joined us. So we'll see. He came over from. Now I'm going to blank on what site he came over from. That's bad, and I knew it too. It doesn't matter. He's with Stripe Pipe now.
Yeah.
Neil Pierce is a good guy. Read his stuff as he gets going here on Stripe Pipe for sure.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and get into it. You ready to get started on this?
Let's do it.
Okay. I'm getting really angry about something, so I want to get your thoughts here. I'm really getting sick and tired of when people are talking about the top 5 wide receivers in the league that age-old Jeremiah Green is not on this list. I don't know what he has done to not be on this list because he has been outstanding since he stepped in this league. So, I think that we're going to see a little bit of age-old Jeremiah Green. We know him as AJ Green doing wonderful things continue. So much, Matthew, that the first step of picking up and putting down is going to be my stat line prediction for AJ Green this year. AJ Green this year, 1,600 yards and 11 touchdowns. Are you picking up or are you putting down?
Say that again?
1,600 yards and 11 touchdowns.
I'll give you the touchdowns all day long. Yards are a little bit harder.
I mean, I think his best years, he was catching 95, 97 catches.
Yep.
He was hurt in 2011, but still turned in a year with 69 catches, 10 touchdowns, and over 1,000 yards.
Yep.
And I think he's pissed. I think that, he finally made the play we've all been waiting for in the playoffs this year when he put the team ahead. He played an outstanding game in that, going against the weather factor. He didn't have any drops. He made he was 5 for 5 on targets as far as like getting to his hands. I know he has carried out a couple overthrows. And I think he's ready to show that he's the guy still. And I think, the talks of Antonio Brown, the talks of Odell Beckham, the talks of this guy and that guy have really stuck to A.J. Green. So I really believe that A.J. Green is going to continue to show that he is the man.
All right. I'll pick it up for the sake of picking it up just because I think you're right there. First off, anybody who says Odell Beckham is a better receiver than A.J. Green needs to take themselves back to Denver or back to California, or needs to get their prescription reduced from Pennsylvania on that medical marijuana, because I think they're high. Yes, he has good hands. Yes, he makes incredible catches, but no, he is nowhere near the wide receiver caliber that AJ Green is.
Yeah, I agree. I love Odell, man. I think he's a fun talent. He's a great player. But yeah, like
problem.
His highlight reel is the only reason people talk about him. You know what I mean? Like when you look at the stat lines, they're mind blowing. But it's like,
well, he could have a way behind him catch once a game and have a total of 200 yards. But it's those once a game ridiculous catch that he makes that would make all of a sudden people go, "Oh, he's a Hall of Famer." It's
right.
No, he's not. I mean, and it's not to diss Odell Beckham because he's a good receiver, and we're not saying that he makes 200 yards. Not at all. But what we are saying, and at least what I'm saying is there is a fascination with his highlight reel.
Yeah,
has an attitude problem. I mean, we saw that last.
Yeah, we did.
But at the same time, not only does he have an attitude problem, but he proved last year that these cornerbacks can easily get into his head.
Yep. Josh
Norman's the perfect example of that.
Yeah, because the only kryptonite we've really seen from AJ Green is Joe Hayden.
Yep.
We haven't seen Joe Hayden play on the football field against the Bengals in 4 Bengals-Browns matchups, if I remember. 3. Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, I'm certainly with you, man. I think that because Odell Beckham, he'll have those games where he'll have 123 yards, but he'll also have a catch for 75 yards. So it's okay, yeah. You know what I mean? And
it's usually that ridiculous catch.
Exactly.
That's the dream throw-up.
Yeah, it's not any disrespect to Beckham at all. I'm with you. I think he's a great talent. I don't think he's as good as AJ Green.
No, not by any means.
All right. So, we touched on it. We discussed it. We mentioned it in the show. So I'm going to see if maybe my wish might be in your thought process of possibly happening this year in this week's Picking Up or Putting Down. Does Ryan Hewitt get in the end zone this year?
He gets in the end zone. The real question should be, does he get in the end zone with the ball?
Yes. Does Ryan Hewitt score a touchdown this year, whether lining up as a tight end, whether as a flanker and outside of the fullback position? He's shown he has the hands. He's shown he has the ability. He's talented.
I think he does.
I do too.
I think he does for one simple reason, and that is because I think Giovanni Bernard gets at least one game where he's injured. And on a goal line situation, I think that they're still going to hesitate, especially early on, giving it to Hill. Until Hill can prove that he can go through a crowd without giving up the ball.
Yeah.
And so I think Hewitt is a great option as a fullback. I think running a short run with him where the defensive line doesn't have the time to penetrate the offensive line. I mean, it's a good fit.
Yeah, I'm with you. So, we do these picking up, putting down. We talk statistics. Sometimes we'll talk other teams. We do things like that. So let's go a little different here, man. This was one I kind of was curious your thoughts because, I think the whole time we've done this show, minus say when I named off the Pro Bowlers, we've never once mentioned the name Kevin Huber and how consistent he's been in the league, how good he's been as a punter, and how good he is at getting balls down the 20. So, picking up or putting down Kevin Huber, 12 punts down in the 20.
I'm picking that up. I'm also picking up the fact that he is still a better punter than the kid out of Florida State.
Yeah.
And that's no disrespect because he's a good punter.
Are you talking about Aguayo?
Yeah.
He's a kicker.
I thought he was a punter too.
No, he might have, but I think the Bucs are strictly using him as a kicker.
Okay. I was gonna say because I know he did a little bit of both. Or I know he did some punts at Florida State, and I think that's because they basically had put up an ad for punting at Florida State. If I'm not mistaken, it said and tryouts were open to all students who could kick a ball. But no, I mean
the garbage picking, field goal kicking Florida State phenomenon.
Yes.
Thank you, Tony Danza.
I just don't. I don't know. I don't see any kicker who you could sit there, or any punter that you could sit there and say, clearly, this is the guy that's unreplaceable. In any other team.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I mean, and that's even given the fact that Ohio State has had a pretty good one. But, Huber's just one of those guys that you don't see him shank many kicks. You don't see him make many errors. He gets the ball off quick. He can go rugby style, too, which I was actually kind of shocked at.
Yeah, I was, too.
And
he can take a hit.
Yeah. Well, to a point.
Yeah.
His jaw can't because it was shattered.
Well, when you're hit helmet to helmet, that kind of happens.
Yeah, well. But remember, he touched the ball, so it was okay,
right,
according to the officials.
Yeah, there's always something. But,
right?
If that was like Vontaze Burfict hitting a punter, it's like, oh, man, 10-year suspension.
Especially the Steelers fans.
Right, exactly. All right, so picking up or putting down, next one. Because I'm going to keep riding this wave, man, of our conversations today. My boy Jeremy Hill next year, I think we both can agree, no matter what his situation is, he's a 10-touchdown guy, whether he's just a goal line back or he does turn into the guy we think he will from his rookie year. Jeremy Hill this year will have more touchdowns than Jamal Charles and DeMarco Murray, not combined.
DeMarco Murray just got another running back in his tandem. So I can agree with that. Jamal Charles, how old is he?
29?
So he's kind of at the Barry Sanders point where he probably should retire.
Injuries. He's been hurt a lot.
Yeah. So.
But he also has Charkandrick West, who's pretty good.
That's a fairly easy pickup. So with both of those, so my throwback to you is, and I'm doing this because we might have somebody from Ohio State listening. He gets more. Does he get more touchdowns than Ezekiel Elliott?
No.
Thank you,
dude. Ezekiel Elliott is the best running back prospect I've seen since Adrian Peterson, and I love Todd Gurley, and I will still say that.
I'll go a step further, and no offense to Adrian Peterson, who is a great running back. He may be the best running back since, or at least I know out of Ohio State, but out of college since Eddie George.
Yeah. I think it's fair. There's probably the best 3 running back prospects in the draft we've probably seen in the last 20, 25 years.
And you also have to remember, Peterson had a Heisman, right?
No, Peterson was second in the Heisman voting.
Okay, he was second in Heisman. And of course, Eddie George won it. So, we're also talking about a running back who hasn't been in really, other than just Heisman talks, hasn't really been a runner-up for the Heisman and kind of got disrespected by it.
Yep, and not to mention, I do agree with him. I don't agree with his comments, but why are you not giving him the ball in that Michigan State game? Why are you leaving your best player out of the game plan?
Because Urban Meyer, for once, decided, oops, I did it again, and that would be from his Florida days.
He outcoached himself in that game. But
yes, he did.
But yes, I'm with you. I don't think, as much as I love Jeremy Hill, I think Ezekiel is going to set the world on fire in Dallas. That offensive line ahead of him is outstanding. Guys like Travis Frederick, Zach Martin, Tyron Smith in front of him. Even with having pretty good guys to go with him like McFadden and Alfred Morris, I just think that he's going to be the bell cow there, and he's going to do amazing things there for sure.
Oh, and not only is he going to be the bell cow, I honestly think it's going to be like a Le'Veon Bell situation.
Yeah.
Where basically he has somebody behind him. Most people will probably forget who it is.
Right. I'm with you.
If it wasn't for the injury to Le'Veon Bell, most people would probably forget that D'Angelo Williams was behind him.
Yeah, I agree.
So, that's one that, Ezekiel Elliott, I would even dare to say, of course, Le'Veon Bell probably will have more touchdowns than him. But,
he's going to miss 4 games at some point. He's going to get hurt.
He's going to miss 4 games, but they're also playing the same teams that the Bengals are, and we know that, the Jets' run defense.
Right.
Do they have one?
No.
Okay.
No.
I wanted to make sure.
Do any of those teams in the AFC East, like maybe Miami, if Ndamukong Suh's like healthy and like got his head in the game?
Well, I mean, Rex Ryan does sometimes pull something.
But he's already out his first round pick.
Well, yeah. Okay. He's getting a second opinion.
Yeah. Dude, how about Jalen Ramsey? Does that suck or what?
It doesn't surprise. Should it really surprise anybody? Because there was reports that that he had some kind of injury. It was almost kind of like an NHL situation where it was undisclosed.
Yeah, but he's such a talent, man.
Yeah.
Such a great player.
So then the question becomes, do we kind of see another Clowney come out of this year's draft with like Ramsey?
No. I can't.
So you think Jalen Ramsey's going to come back full force?
Yep. Because I've never once seen Jalen Ramsey on a football field. And I watched a lot of Florida State games, being the ACC thing. I never once saw him tired on a football field. I never once saw him holding his hips in the huddle.
Well, yeah, there's been times, and even in the NFL, Clowney's looked like, where's his asthma inhaler?
Right, exactly.
And that's no offense to our very own Icky Woods.
Right.
Because asthma is a very, very serious disease. And we did an interview with Icky Woods on the site. Type into the search bar Icky Woods. It was a great interview. We really do appreciate him taking the time with us. And his son, of course, unfortunately had passed due to asthma, and he's doing some great things with asthma research.
Yeah, he is, man. It's awesome.
So outside of picking up some cold cuts, Icky Woods definitely is bringing something to the forefront that many of us forget about.
Yeah.
And especially even in sports, many of us forget about it because we think asthma is basically somebody with an inhaler that doesn't play sports because of today's media, and that's absolutely not the truth. Asthma is something that affects a lot of athletes, and luckily some have it under a very, very good control. And Icky is one of the big voices for that for sure.
Absolutely. All right, man. So let's touch on it. This last picking up or putting down. This is going to be a little different here. So I'm going to list 4 quarterbacks here, and I'm going to have you pick who throws 1 through 4, who has the most passing yards between the 4. Okay. You ready? All right. We're going to go Derek Carr, Andrew Luck, Andy Dalton, Kirk Cousins.
First thought, without giving it much thought, Andy Dalton, Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, and that last one.
Andrew Luck.
Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck, number 1, has to stay healthy. And I still don't think that they got anybody to protect him. Derek Carr is probably still to this day one of the best young talents.
Oh, dude, he's outstanding.
And so I'm excited. I mean, he's better than his brother David.
Obviously.
By far. And so, I'm excited, even though, obviously another AFC team. I'm excited to see what he does because, honestly, I would love to see the Oakland Steelers rivalry come back so that way when they play the Bengals, they're already just beat to crap.
Yep.
They haven't really been that relevant since the 1 year with Hugh Jackson where they went 8-8. And even before that, really the John Madden days.
Mm-hmm.
So, would love to see Derek Carr come back and bring that franchise back to something relevant. Kirk Cousins, he's got a good head coach offensive head coach.
You mean for throwing the ball 75 times a game?
Yeah, essentially. And so that's going to help him, but at the same time, I still don't see the talent around him.
Nah. I really like them getting Josh Doxson a lot, and I do like Jordan Reed, but
I just don't think Doxson fits that system.
No.
And that's one reason why I'm sitting there thinking to myself, all Jay Gruden really went for that on is the fact that, my former head coach wanted that guy, so why wouldn't I?
Right.
So, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I just don't think we see somebody that's part of that system that honestly is going to benefit Kirk Cousins. I mean, it's not to say that Doxson will be terrible. It's just to say that I think he had more opportunity in a place like, dare I say it, Minnesota or Cincinnati.
Yeah. Okay, so you're saying you're going to go, are you going Dalton? Am I getting this right? Dalton, Carr, Luck, Cousins? Is that where you're going?
Switch it. Switch the end.
Okay. So you're saying Luck will be fourth because you're saying he's not going to play all 16 games.
Correct.
Okay. I will go, I think Andrew Luck will be the one of the four. I know he doesn't have the talent around him that the other three do, but I think that if he's 100%, he's the best of the four. And I think that he's one of the best talents this game has. He's one of the best pure throwers the NFL has. I know it depends on if his offensive line will let him walk, but that's the big part. Dalton's a number 2 for me out of the 4. I think that he's going to continue to be excellent. I think the last year was no fluke. I think having Ken Zampese even running the show, he's going to put the ball up a little more. And it's not a situation where these wide receivers and these playmakers are getting Dalton paid. Dalton's getting those guys paid. Let's be honest here, people. Third, I think, is Derek Carr. The main reason is Amari Cooper because he's outstanding. And I think that Derek Carr is just, I'm with you. I think he's one of the best pure talents this game has at the quarterback position. And he's only going to get better as well. And then I'm a little higher on Cousins than you are. But I still think of the 4, he'd be the 4th. The one benefit, like I said, Jay Gruden likes to throw the ball 66 times a game. Ask Andy Dalton about that. And there is still that whole I can throw it deep and Deshaun Jackson will outrun somebody to get the ball thing. But yeah, I mean, other than that, man, he doesn't have a running game like the other 3 do. Well, I guess not really because Frank Gore doesn't do anything for Andrew Luck. He doesn't have a running game like Andy Dalton has behind him. He doesn't have, he has Jordan Reed, and Jordan Reed's an excellent talent, but Jordan Reed is he's Mr. Red Zone. I mean, that's getting touchdowns, that's not getting yardage. And we'll see that in London for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's fair there. But I'm excited, man. I love all 4 quarterbacks. I think all 4 quarterbacks are going to do good things this year. I expect the 3 AFC Pro Bowl quarterbacks to be the 3 I just named, probably. Even Roethlisberger, obviously, and Brady would be close there, but I think Brady might end up potentially... Well, between Brady, Roethlisberger, and Dalton, I think one of those 2 will end up playing in the Super Bowl, too, so...
Yeah, I mean, and we know what my prediction is for this year. I mean, I'm not saying the Bengals win the Super Bowl, but if anything, this is the biggest year for the toss-up for the AFC, and it's kind of a question of why not the Bengals.
Yeah, I agree, man.
So,
I agree for sure. So with that being said, I think after a long and lengthy episode, including a internet connection drop, we can go ahead and close out this week's edition of Men in Stripes, brought to you by StripePipe.com, a fan-sided affiliate. Matthew, thank you again for a fun show, a lengthy show, and don't give up on the Romo.
Oh, I won't give up on picking on you about Romo. Don't worry.
That's fine. I will defend him.
You said don't give up on Romo. You never specified what.
I think I'm actually trying to plan on going to Dallas for the Bengals-Cowboys game this year.
So, are you gonna basically be like AJ Hawk's wife now?
No.
Half Romo, half Dalton?
Not by any stretch of the matter, but I'm definitely gonna have you ever been to that stadium?
No, I've not been to AT&T.
It's beautiful, man. It's definitely evil, but it's beautiful.
Well, I mean, anytime you put Carrie Underwood in that stadium for the Country Music Awards and basically a concert where basically she sells out more times than basically the Dallas Cowboys do.
Dude, I always look at it I think it's Jerry Jones' Supervillain Fortress.
Yeah, yeah. I'm wondering who. We'll use the Austin Powers reference here. Kind of who does number 2 work for? I think it's Jerry Jones. So I think I think shave his head and he is Dr. Evil.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, man, so let's go ahead and close out this week's edition of Men in Stripes, brought to you by StripeHype.com. Thank you to your fans for your continued support. Everyone enjoy the week. We'll talk to you next week. And hoo-day!
Hooray!